welcome back, knife nerds and everyday people. It's your boy, the Big Canucker, and we are dealing here today with a Oknife Splint coming to us from Jake over at Canadian Cutting Edge. Jake is a fellow Albertan knife nerd, knife nut, and he was reviewing this there a little while ago, and I see that he had it up for sale, and I just thought, hey, I'm going to check this out, put it in my pocket, and we'll see how I like it. And you know what? There's a couple of monosyllabic reviews I could do in this. One is wow, and the other one is huh. And even a third one, which is ugh. All right, so let's break down wow, huh, and I'll tell you exactly what I mean. All right, let's go over this really quick here. Technical details: you have got, they say, a fully flat grind, but I don't believe it is. It is a high saber ground with all sorts of kooky edges on that blade. The blade steel is N690, which is going to be similar to VG10 or 440C. It's a budget offering, but it's on the high end of the budget offerings. And it is, you know, it can take a wicked edge, extremely stainless, but edge retention is not going to be there like something like S30, S30V, things like that. It's not in that realm, but it is still, you know, pretty tough, stain resistant, and takes an amazing edge. The handle material is a polished G10. The overall length is 6.93 inches, so just a sub 7 inches. You've got an Olites lifetime warranty on this, and some other stuff here too as well. So let's go. Where is the blade length on this bugger here? Blade length is 2.97 inches, so it is sub 3 inches. And that matters, I guess, if you're dealing with areas where you have to be below 3 inches. There's some knife knobs out there. This one here takes it below the 3 inches, and you know what? It is a flipper opening, but it has a lot of different ways to open it too as well, which is one of the highlights here, which is really smooth flipper opening. Nothing wrong with that. It is a liner lock, which I wish it wasn't, and I will tell you why in a bit. But you've also got kind of a little bit of a oblong hole there, so you can kind of thumb flick it, which is no problem. You can spidey flick it open, and you can also I guess use the top here is kind of a side flipping one, which because there, so that does open sideways, but it is more difficult than the other ways. And if your hands are small, I don't see any reason why you couldn't open this up, no problem. My doorbell's just going off there. Oh well, they're gonna have to wait. I'm sure it's just an Amazon package that my wife has ordered, so oh well, if they ring it again, I will answer it. But all right, but let's just see here, kind of size comparison here. Here we have a knife that is very similar, which is the Benchmade Mini Griptilian, and then we've got another knife here, which is a this darn thing here is a bug out. So you can see that it is in the kind of size Griptilian bug out, a little smaller than the bug out, about the same size as the Mini Griptilian, but it is. How do I put this? The part of this is, I think that it's a good looking knife. I really like this blue anodizing hardware, even though, you know, eventually this will go in and out of the pocket and it might wear a little bit, but it still looks very sharp. I like the look of this blade, including that you've got all sorts of different angles on here. So they did take some time in, you know, grinding this. This is not just a kind of just a flat blade and, you know, and nothing else. There is some definite angles on there. So when whoever designed this knife took some time to actually design it. You've got like a little ledge here. You can see how the jimping is a little bit wider here on the blade, and that leaves a nice little area that if you had to kind of, you can hook your thumb to it, and it does help you with the opening of the knife. So there's, you know, there's no issues there. It is, you know, flow through construction with a couple of standoffs. So even though there is no lanyard hole drilled in the side, you can tie a lanyard off to the back here, and that is one of my kind of pet peeves. I love lanyards on my knives. I just think it just adds to the stability and the grip of them, and when you don't have a dedicated lanyard hole, I kind of penalize that with it. But I have to say, the biggest overall penalty to this knife is the fact that it is small, and I'm not, nothing wrong with small knives, but just the design of it doesn't lend to big guys' hands using this knife really intuitively off the bat. Now, I can say that over time, if this was my major everyday carry or a knife that I planned on carrying for months and months and months, it would get so much easier. But sometimes those knives you just pick up and you can just automatically grab it, flick it closed, and there's no issues whatsoever. That is something like this bug out. Where this one here, when I first picked it up, it felt a little bit foreign to me, and it wasn't a really great sensation that I was like, ugh. You know, I was driving and I was flicking it and I was trying to close it. And because Jake has put such a wonderful edge on there, I caught my fingers a couple times with it, and not cut them, but just gave them a little bit of a scare. And the reason I think is just because it's just so thin here. They've got these are good for gripped wise, but they don't fill the hand out very much. And when you've got double XL hands like mine, it doesn't seem like this is intuitively easy to open and close like some other knives, despite it having, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways to open up this knife. It's not as fun a flicker as some of the other ones out there. Now you're dealing with, a really smooth action because it does have ball bearings inside there, but it's just not intuitively easy to open for guys with big hands. There, I said it. So now, behind the edge, it's got a flat grind. It is, it has, definite slicing, and it has definite, punctured capabilities because has such a nice fine tip on it, and it isn't an overall extremely thick blade. I mean, I think you're looking at probably 3 mil at the widest point here, which is going to be here. So it is strong. There's no side-to-side plays, no up and down play. But it just doesn't go through the cardboard. And I did do a lot of slicing with cardboard. It didn't go through as well as something like this bug out. Now this bug out, it just seemed like this bug out here would go through the cardboard a little bit easier than this old knife Splint. And that is, I think, one of its kind of biggest downfalls, is it's just a little tiny bit thick on the shoulder. And I'm not sure if you can see, but you can see some of the trails here of where I was cutting through cardboard. So that seems to be my biggest issue. Now I think it's a great looking knife. I mean, priced wise, I think they're looking at in the States, you've got like a place like White Mountain Knives is $88. Here in Canada, I think it was kind of around the same price, just a smidge under $100. And I think you can find them on sale in the States too now for about $69 or $70. And I think that is, I think that's on par. I don't think that they're asking way too much for that or anything. $70 for this knife, I think is, right on par. It's got, quality materials, quality builds, quality workmanship, an okay design. And I just think the right person's hands got to fit this knife to get the absolute best of it. But I think if you are a guy with big monster double XL hands, I think you can still use this knife. I just don't think it's going to be as comfortable right off the bat and intuitive as some of the other ones out there. But I do have to tell you, the more I use this knife and the more I open and close it, the more muscle memory I get with it, the better I like it. So who knows? I could, put this in my pocket for 2-3 months and end up loving it. But it just wasn't as comfortable as some of the other ones out there right off the bat, which is the best way that I can say that. All right, so for me, a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to probably give this knife a 6.5. I think it just loses on the fact that it's a little bit thick in the side here. It's certainly not porky or heavy or anything like that. I mean, it's 2.8 ounces, so it's extremely light. It'll go great in a backpacker's pocket. It will look great as far as a gentleman's knife. And if you've got the right size hand and a little bit of patience, I think you can have a lot of fun flicking this knife open and closed quite a bit. So that seems to be the way to go with that bugger. So I really, really appreciate you guys stopping by. Now, this thing here for me, I'm going to do a little bit of a catch and release for this, and anybody who wants to buy this, I'll give you guys first shot on it before I put it up online. Any of you guys, the first guy who wants it, $60 Canadian plus shipping, and that's yours. And that's basically what I paid for it. I'll send it down the road, and I will use that $60 to put in my little box and save up for some other knives to show you guys. So just give me an email over at the Big Canucker. It's not the Big Canucker. It's just bigcanucker@gmail.com. Or let me know in the description here that you're going to send me an email. The first guy to message me, $60 plus shipping, gets yourself actually, I think, a good-looking, handy, very capable knife that just, I think, needs to fit in the right hands. So please stay safe out there. Keep your stick on the ice, the shiny side up. This is the Big Canucker saying adios.